Good morning, my sweet dear babies. It's been 2 weeks again, and I'm sorry. I hate to announce that I went through another loss of someone that I love dearly to heroin. And as much as the topic of this video is not heroin overdose and it's not heroin use, I'm sick of my heart being broken. I'm sick of my family's heart being broken. I'm sick of watching parents have to bury their kids. And it's interesting because I myself have struggled with addiction. I myself have been in that mindset where one more time, right? One more time. But I think what we also need to realize, and I have a dear, dear friend who had a little mishap recently, but is getting right back up, has said, I can't even use again because we know they're out there trying to kill people. We don't even know what's in it. So I guess if you could comment down in the comment section or email me, I would love to interview you about how we get from that conversation to actually intravenously using heroin, knowing that there is poison. And I guess my main part of that question, because I've talked about it in my addiction sex video, I've talked about it several times, I understand that once you're using, your soul is gone, you're gone. Your ability to make choices are affected, but three people that I've lost to heroin recently in the past couple of months, and then this one friend who happened to fall, all had multiple years, if not an entire year clean. And I personally haven't struggled with that, so I would really, really love to pray with you, to hear your experience, and then if you're comfortable, maybe eventually interviewing you for this channel, because I think it would be really beneficial for those of us just trying to love people through this extremely difficult and horrendous epidemic. Okay, and the whole point of this video, the importance of medication. Now, so as a Christian channel, as a Christian woman, I know that there's still stigma, just in general, but sadly in the Christian church, about medication. A lot of people will say, you haven't prayed enough, or God is our healer, therefore, you don't need medicine. And as much as I love their heart and I see where they're coming from, one, that is one of the, I don't know if it's rude, heartbreaking things you can say. So part of my situation is I have been struggling with depression and anxiety since I was 10 years old. Yes, some of my life experience as a child kind of definitely influenced that, but I remember way earlier than the trauma feeling sad, feeling like life didn't measure up and feeling like I was different. And so that is why I know with my own personal experience, this is a genetic disorder. Then again, with my personal experience, struggling that whole time, then in my teens and 20s, getting into drugs, stuff like that. I'm not a scientist, but there are several really fancy names and fancy people who can explain this to you, but there are levels in our bodies. I don't know, serotonin, I think maybe it's called. I know melatonin helps you go to sleep, but like serotonin or like the joy deal in your mind, some of those are off. And the way I've explained it to people is, here's the normal level, right? Here's somebody with a disposition to depression. That was a fancy word, and I hope I used it right. Now, what medication does, it doesn't bring you here. It doesn't make you high. It doesn't make you numb. It brings you to the normal level. And so it's like a cancer patient. You're not going to say you can't have chemo because we don't believe in chemo. We know that those things help people. Or a diabetic. Give them insulin because those levels help them. It's not a drug to get high off of. It's not anything that is, it's nothing other than to make your levels normal. Now, again, back to the whole personal experience of drug use, I was already here, right? And I had talked about this in my depression sucks videos, or my addiction sucks videos, about alcohol being a depressant. And then, even ecstasy, when you're coming off ecstasy and the next day, I don't even know why I chose to do that or why people still choose to do that, because the depression of coming down from ecstasy is awful. It's awful. So anyway, here's normal. Here's me. Here's me after drugs. Do you see the gap? It got even worse. And, there's scientific research shown for porn addicts that when you watch porn, there's a rewiring done in your brain. And now there's more studies coming out that drug use is doing the same thing. Again, I wish I was the type of person that would sit here and do hours of studies for you to give you the scientific research, but I'm not. Challenge you to do it on your own, and if you have that information, please contact me. I would love to interview you. I would love to hear your perspective, and let's just get the word out that this is, people who are on medication are not bad. We're not weird. We don't trust God less. We don't not pray enough. It's literally just getting those levels up. And for those of us who did not or do not want to get on medication, but know that you probably need to, it's okay. It's really okay. I was on meds for a really, really long time and then believed that I was healed, right? And so I just got off of them. Did not call my doctor. Super not wise, number one. But it was a tumultuous, I hope that's the word, 5 years of not being on meds. And I find it as my new normal. I said, I can handle this. It's okay. And for me, my baseline was pretty depressed. But then during my cycle and my period, it was brutal. And, Judah coming into my life was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was amazing. But before he came along, I actually, and I feel like I had confessed this before, I'm not sure, started smoking weed. And this is after years of recovery, years of loving Jesus, years of just knowing that weed or drugs or anything, sorry, there was a bug, substance was not for me. So that alone was a huge red flag for me. So I thought about getting on medication again, but during pregnancy, they don't want you to have any of that stuff. And to clarify for the world, I did not smoke weed while I was pregnant. Did not do anything that I was not supposed to do. I was obsessive compulsive about doing absolutely the right thing the entire time I was pregnant. Didn't even take an antidepressant that I knew I needed, but another video for another time, I guess. Anyway, so, he came into my life and it was amazing and, he brought so much joy, but I just knew that there was still something going on. And not only did I have depression, I think I did struggle with a little bit of postpartum. I mean, to top it off, I was with a partner that wasn't, they were not only not involved, they were sucking everything from me that they could. Now, could all of these situations cause some of that depression? 100%. And I don't think that it helped. I think that it definitely made it worse. But had I been on the proper medication, I would have been able to handle it better. And so it was around 2017. It was my birthday. And I finally sat down across from one of my best friends and her husband. And I said, I am the most depressed I have ever been in my entire life. Like, I don't even remember ever being this depressed. And, again, I've said it 45 times in this video, but I would love if you have struggled with depression or your symptoms may have been different than mine. I would love to interview you just to get the word out and show other people that depression, anxiety, mental health are not cookie cutter. So for me, depression does not manifest itself in self-harm or like wanting to kill myself or anything like that. How it comes for me is it's literally like a rainbow got sucked dry. Everything is gray. Nothing is enjoyable. There is a lack of hope, but it's just more because why do I not like anything? I could literally be in love with oranges and then look at them and be like, why do they exist? It's dumb. They're dumb, So I finally made a choice to get on medication. It changed my life, you guys. I remember texting one of my friends being like, I feel like I'm floating, because for 5 years I had these racing thoughts that I didn't even, this is the phrase, I didn't even know how bad I was until I wasn't anymore, right? I will say that again because I mean that. I did not know how bad I was until I wasn't anymore. Finally, not having a gazillion racing thoughts going through my mind at all times, I was like, I have all this energy. I have all this time. I have all this emotion to just do things, to feel. It was like literally incredible. And, my cycle still caused some drop, but like, it wasn't horrendous, A, but then B, I was in a place where I could handle it. I could make positive choices to do what I needed to do. Now, fast forward, we've lost my dad, my grandfather, my cousin, and now a coworker. We did lose five, because we lost a very close family friend. I'm not doing okay with all of that. I'm in a safe place. I'm in great community, but I'm not mad at God. I'm mad at choices. I'm mad at the broken world we live in. I'm mad at the devil because I'm just sick of these games. I'm sick of the trying to take out my generation. But, I think it's just the grief. I said to Kyle the other day, I feel like I can't even properly grieve one person because they're overlapping each other at this point. But another thing that I have been diagnosed with a really long time ago was borderline personality disorder. And it's a learned behavior. It's basically a coping mechanism, but it can really represent itself as bipolar. And a lot of people get really misdiagnosed with bipolar. So bipolar can be medicated, borderline cannot. And borderline, the way that you deal with it, it's actually really hard to treat, but it certain types of therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, talk therapy, group, like all of these, and you're basically just rewiring how you relate to the world. Now, borderline for me had totally been dormant. Like, I told people I used to be diagnosed with this because I had not seen any symptoms in such a long time. Well, one of the things that happens when you go through a traumatizing experience, a very big loss, or a big change is it kind of rears its ugly head again. 5 losses. So, it's up again. It went from I would love Kyle to I would hate him. I would be extremely happy to extremely depressed. I would be really, really hopeful to really, really hopeless, and just this pedestal to shoe. Everyone is perfect or everyone is terrible, or when's the next person going to die? And this just panic all the time, this like anger. If someone like snapped their pen wrong, it would like, oh my goodness. I just couldn't take it, But I'm just in a much better place and I'm properly medicated. And so I went to my doctor and I said, I don't feel right. I just don't. I feel off. But let me confess to you, it did take longer than it needed to. I had a lot of time during my relationship with Kyle where he had to love me through some painful words that I've said to him, or he's had to be patient with me while I'm just irritated again, or he had to have the courage and love and respect for me to say, Tanya, I think you need to maybe meet with your doctor because you're not doing awesome right now. And I'm noticing some things that like aren't really you. And that is why I love that man so much, because to love someone with mental health is, we don't show it to the world, but it's in this house when it happens, and it's in the car alone when he is just loving me patiently, you know? But I did go to my doctor, and I said to her the things that I'm saying to you, and, you know, we decided to up my meds for the time being, and I feel amazing. Obviously, when in the beginning of this video, when I talk about the serotonin and, you know, the levels, when you go through loss, or you go through trauma, or you go through certain things, those levels change. So although I was here on the proper level dosage of medication, going through 5 losses, I can't even tell you all 5 of them weren't traumatic, intense losses for me, because they were. My levels went to here again. And to me, looking at it now, it's, I don't want to say I'm an idiot for like not seeing it, but I guess I am. So, yeah, I don't know. So I'm sorry for taking 2 weeks, you guys. And thinking of, I was reminded that I didn't send out the water bottle to Tara yet. And I told her I would send it to her last weekend. But baby is getting his cast off on the 29th. I will be back to my normal routine, schedule, and life. But the water bottle, Tara, it's going out to you. It's going out to you, I promise. And thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for just constantly supporting me, supporting what God's doing in me, just supporting my family and the love. And one of my favorite things is getting messages or text messages, or most important, I love this beyond all else. It happened on Sunday at church. I had a girl who just is so sweet to me, and she's so precious, and I love her dearly, come up to me and be like, hey, how you doing? Keeping up with your story. I'm keeping up with you. Like, what's going on? And just, it connects me to people that I may not get to see every day, or that I may not get to talk to every day. Or there's like, I want to say 1 billion, but I feel like that's way off, but there's billions of people in the world, and you know, I wish I could talk to everybody at least once, and this platform has really put me in a position to kind of just connect with you and love you. And I've heard YouTubers say it before where they're like, I just want to really connect with you, and I remember sitting there being like, I'm one of like, you have 2.3 thousand followers, like, but being on the other side of it, like, I'm looking at my phone, which has like a little circle where the camera is, and I'm just like seeing your faces, and I'm just thinking of you and as an individual in your situation, and how I love you and I care for you and I want God's best for you. So please, I put my Instagram or my email in the description every time. Please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. And much like I said 42 gazillion times in this video, if any of the topics that I have resonated with you, or you feel like God has put a message on your heart, or you struggle with certain things, I would love to hear your perspective. Let's talk about setting up a time for an interview. Let's set up a time to share your story. I would love to get other people on here and just share what God's doing, because beautiful recovery isn't Tanya's thing. It's God's thing. It's the community of people. It's talking about recovery and mental health and life, you know? So, guys, I'm praying for you. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.